So what we're talking about here is USAID funding EcoHealth Alliance to create a virus. That virus getting out. USAID is funding the media outlets to cover that. They're also funding the censorship programs to take down people that are going against the narrative on social media. It's all encompassing. It's everywhere. From Columbia Journalism Review, USAID's media support network spans an impressive scope of 6,200 journalists, 707 media outlets, and 279 civil society organizations across 30 countries. This is a global nexus. It's Project Mockingbird 2.0, but it's Project Mockingbird, but the Mockingbird is a giant 100-headed hydra. So what we're learning here is not only is the mainstream media funded by the government, not only do they receive cash injections of hundreds and millions of dollars by investors like BlackRock, not only are they propped up by advertisements from Big Pharma, who itself is a continual beneficiary of these tax dollars and ridiculous programs, but they're still collapsing. I mean, really think about this. Really think about how much support they get, the blank checks they receive, whether it's your retirement money that BlackRock is managing, paying things like NBC $400 million or Vice News $400 million. Not only are they getting cash injections from the government, not only are they being propped up by they're still failing. The BBC apparently was one of these. BBC Media Action Statement, our statement on USAID funding. A free press is essential to freedom and democracy, and 75% of countries around the world do not have a free press. Hey, kind of like you people, kind of like Great Britain and the UK, who throw more people into jail for their speech than just about any other country on earth. BBC Media Action supports local media around the world to deliver trusted information to people most in need. Like many international development organizations, BBC Media Action has been affected by the temporary pause in U.S. government funding, which amounts to about 8% of our income in 2023 and 24. We're doing everything we can to minimize the impact on our partners and the people we serve. So we've been funding the BBC as well. The BBC, who, of course, has been using its influence to crush the populist uprising and facilitate the media's total despotism and tyranny against its own people there.
Can we take a second to also reflect on one of your stories from the Daily Dispatch, where USAID paid the Stanford Internet Observatory to target conservative media outlets? So basically, media outlets that weren't controlled by them got targeted for censorship.
Exactly.
That is insane.
Exactly. You either are funded by them, boosted by them, get all the connections and influence that they can offer, or they crush you, or they fund so-called NGOs and university studies to justify us being removed from digital media. Over the past several years, they have funded the Internet Observatory Project, the same censorship group that targeted Gateway Pundit and Parler. You're talking about the Election Integrity Project with the University of Wisconsin. You've got PolitiFact, the Poynter Institute, the International Fact-Checking Network, the FSI Institute, the Stanford Internet Observatory, all of these organizations, all funded with your tax dollars, censoring people that aren't directly funded and directed by the very organization that's now carrying out the censorship. Pretty incredible. And then you have this article, which just takes the cake for absurdity. Out of all the headlines today, this is the most hilarious. CNN reports, Politico, White House says it will cancel $8 million in subscriptions after false right-wing conspiracy theory spreads. Right-wing conspiracy theory spreads. Now, what did that conspiracy theory say? The conspiracy theory was that there was $8 million of funds being funneled to Politico from the White House. Now the White House says it canceled that $8 million subscription funding fee because of right-wing conspiracy theory. The conspiracy theory, I remind you, is that there was $8 million of funding. In the end of that paragraph, they say federal agencies combined spent $8.2 million on Politico Pro last year, according to USAspending.gov. a bogus claim and a right-wing conspiracy theory that they received millions of dollars when really all they did was receive $8.2 million. What is happening here? What is this? I'm really worried that there's American people out there who lack the reading comprehension to understand that the claim discredited at the beginning of the paragraph is confirmed at the end of the paragraph, and that makes this article make no sense. My God. And again, it's not, we're laughing at it, it's funny, but at the end of the day, USAID has been the engine behind the Ukraine war, the COVID-19 virus itself, the vaccine program, the censorship based on that program. They had to do a lot with the stealing of the election in 2020, and then they censored anybody who said the election was stolen in 2020. They're calling it a bogus conspiracy theory while simultaneously confirming that it's factually true. So I just don't know what to do about this anymore. I'm not going to have a job. I'm not going to have a job anymore when the conspiracies are this blatant. I'm supposed to have to explain these things. I'm supposed to have to try to get this out there. It's like, this is like the end of the road for us, right? I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like, we've spent years being like, there's a massive network of leftist patronage that is destroying the planet and progressing these leftist ideals that are totally fraudulent and nobody believes, but they're in the education system, they're in the media. It's like we're like desperately trying to get people to realize this. Finally, people are realizing it, and it's all going down. Like, what are we going to do? What are we going to do after this?